So music is working, sound is working, everything is fine. Okay, overlay seems to work as well, although it is a bit different because, like I said, I have to use a different overlay because this is an old replay because the new patch has already been done. Okay, and sound is pretty loud for me, so I'll just have to adjust that a little bit, and then everything should be fine. So, we're seeing our first match of the evening between the purple Protoss spawned in the upper left of the map. Frost, it's Koshkii. And to the top right, in green, we have our Zerg player, Wryza. So, both ladies were playing on NA, since both of them usually play on the NA region and come from the USA. So Wryza starting with the hatch first, over to the right-hand side, while Koshkii is already walling off her natural expansion with a pylon and a gateway. Quite interesting that the pylon is such in front of her base, or in front of her other building, because that gives Zerglings quite more surface area to nibble down this pylon if they come in earlier. But of course it gives more protection if you finally have a photon cannon out, because the range is a little bit longer over here. Okay, on this map actually some Zergs still play early pools because it's a 4-player map, and if a Protoss like Koshkii right now is having a bit of bad luck by scouting the opponent at the last location, then an early pool and the lings of an early pool can already arrive at your main entrance before you even have it walled off completely, maybe even working on these buildings already, and or just walking straight inside your main base and you don't really have the means to protect it in any way. But of course it's risky for Zerg to do it, and well, I think in the best of 5 series you can risk to do it, but Wryza decided against it. Wants to try out normal macro game by going into a third hatch pretty early on, even before having speed ready, or pressed it on. So yeah, it's not as greedy as can be, but it's pretty greedy. And we'll see if Koshkii is going to punish her for that, because as we all know, Koshkii, pretty aggressive player, usually playing off of 2 bases and killing Zergs from there on. So let's see if she will do the same thing here or not. We have a Twilight Council incoming, so it's either going to be the attack speed for the Adepts, or maybe Blink, or maybe even DTs. We'll see that later on. But she just wants to play more Zealots, like Speedlot, Immortal once more. So then we would see some Zealot speed in just a few seconds. Okay, speed now on the way for Wryza. She's also going for a Baneling Nest, because she probably knows how her opponent normally thinks and plays. So she already is thinking, I guess, of a gateway-based army, and usually a very very zealot or adept-heavy army. And actually, Banelings work quite well against that. So in the meantime, we see the Resonating Glaives. So as I said, the attack speed for the Adepts. So the attacks will the Adepts will throw faster attacks, causing more damage over time. So more Queens coming out. We already have a Spore Caller just in case our opponent is going for Oracles. Because right now, whoa, no, what did I do? Okay, because right now Wryza doesn't know that much about her opponent. Actually, what did she say? Let's have a look. She doesn't know any on text. So she doesn't know if her opponent might be going for Stargate, might be going for Robo, might be going for a Twilight Council, and she just has no idea. So these are just safety spores, just in case an Oracle or multiple Phoenix harassment will come her way. So one Queen doing the long walk over to the rest of the creep in order to get to the 3rd base. So in the meantime, we have a little Zergling over here. He just scouts the front, not seeing any units there, which should cause some trouble, I think. But Wryza, or some worries at least. But Wryza has a lot of overlords hanging above all the important walkways. Okay, here we have the Warp Prison. Koshkii now unloading, or doing the phase shift, so that she can now warp in units. Okay, Wryza has already found it, so now attacking with the queen, while checking the ground below with some Zerglings. So Koshkii can't really unload right now, which she does now. Walking in more units, and Wryza definitely knows what's up. 18 Zerglings in production, so I think she should be able to hold this fairly easily. Of course, the biggest problem is that the Warp Prison can move around quite well, but there's the Spore Crawler, the safety Spore Crawler, now doing its duty. Okay, First Adept, maybe she'll shade in at all, but I don't think so. Oh, she actually does! I don't really know if I like that. And she can always pick up with the Warp Prison. That doesn't manage to do it quite the way she wanted to do it. Yeah, and Wryza has already fended off the first push quite handily. So Koshkii in the meantime is trying to get a third base up, while Wryza now still has to saturate her own with 9 more drones coming our way. But of course Koshkii's Nexus is almost done, and a Protoss on 3 bases is very difficult to deal with for Zerg, especially if the Zerg hasn't even saturated his own third base and is not even trying to get a fourth. So the most important part for Wryza is now that she knows about this as early as possible, and yeah, she won't be able to do that much damage, I guess. Maybe, okay, she just lays down everything with a Baneblade. I don't know if I really like that. She loses a lot of her army right now for just, for mostly trading units, which she just can't afford right now. I mean, trading units is always good for a Zerg player if your economy is vastly superior to that of your opponents, but in this case she's only traded a few gateway units against all of her army and a pylon. So she hasn't really thrown Koshkii back in terms of gameplay, which might cause some problems right now because there's a next push incoming for Koshkii. She now has some sentries in the mix, so she'll be able to cut off most of the units directly. Okay, Wryza just already taking care of the heavy gas units. I think that's a wise decision here, but of course she has to stay alive for the next few seconds, and I don't think she will be able to do that because there's the next warp and there's another Immortal incoming, and she only has 3 defense at the moment. 26 more Zerglings on the way, but I don't know if it will be enough. The Mothership Core dying, that's of course one little small success. Nice transfusing here by Wryza, trying to win as much time as possible, luring these Zealots to chase after these queens, and now finally the Zerglings come in, but they're not all of them at once. We don't have 1-0 Zealots, so the Zealots still take 3 hits to kill the Zerglings, but it's just not enough. Zerglings just won't cut it, and there's also, where's the Warp Prison? Okay, I think I just missed how the Warp Prison was shut down, so that would have been quite a success, but this is actually almost game. Wryza loses her third base. Her fourth base, or now new third base, has almost come up, so this is at least a little streak of hope in the sky, but the next problem is that Koshkii has already saturated her own third base, and she will have the possibility to take her fourth base as soon as whenever she wishes. So just streaming in some more Zerglings is actually pretty wasteful here, activating the shields, so she won't be able to do a lot with these Zerglings. So Immortals should retreat a little bit until the until the reinforcements arrive. But yeah, Koshkii says, okay, I've done my deed for now. I've killed the third base. Of course, there's another third base up that Koshkii doesn't know about yet, but she probably is aware of it, or at least guesses that there is a fourth base going up. Okay, retaking her third base right now. Yeah, but now the biggest problem is still here. We have, as we see, it's only 40 workers to 67 workers for Koshkii. So the income for Wryza is already bad. She normally would have drone right now, but she can't, because she just has to put everything in units in order to defend those next positions, or which she will probably not be able to do. So yeah, that should be game. Koshkii taking the first one. There's nothing much I can say. There's the fourth base incoming, but it's just something she do because she can now. She doesn't really have to. I mean, there's a third base going up, but it's only halfway done, and Wryza still has way too few drones in order to make something happen here. Her economy is in shambles. She now has some Hydras there, but the Hydras alone won't do much damage. I mean, of course, they're last minute. I mean, they dish out a lot of damage if you have enough of them, but you also need some sort of meat buffer in front of them, or they just get taken out pretty easily because they have so few health points. Okay, game sounds way too loud, I just see. So, we're on Dusk Towers, our second map of this series, and spawning in the bottom left position we have the purple Protoss Koshkii. Playing against her opponent, spawning in the top right corner, it's the green Zerg Wryza, who's behind 1-0 after the first match, where she tried to go for a macro build that didn't quite work out because Koshkii's relentless early aggression just whittled her down after a few minutes, so she couldn't hold it off effectively enough. And well, this time still going for an early hatch, not unusual. You don't see early pools that often, but this is quite interesting. What's happening here? Is this deliberately done? So we have 4 drones on our way. No. This was obviously a very bad misclick. Ouch. This is going to hurt Wryza so much. Having 4 workers just idling around that early in the game is really a bad thing to happen. I mean, misclicks happen all the time, but this one was a serious one. Ouch, that really hurt. Okay, probe now moving in, seeing all the tech so far, which is none. And here's the pool incoming, plus the gas, so now Koshkii already, well, she hasn't seen the gas, but she will in just a minute when the probe returns back to the old position. In the meantime, Koshkii has taken her own backdoor expansion, while walling off with a gateway and a cybernetics core. Good stuff, just normal play on this map, as we've seen before so many times. Okay, Koshkii now trying to block the third base in if Wryza really wants to take it. We don't know yet, but she probably wants to, or maybe just wants to give Koshkii the impression that she does want to. Well, now she could already take it if she wants to, doesn't have to drive away the probe. Actually, Koshkii could have just built a pylon if she wanted to, but she decides against it. And there's the third hatchery going down for Wryza. Okay, in the meantime, Koshkii has now enough money to build an adept, to put it into this little gap in order to make a complete wall of for any early Zerglings, which she doesn't have to be afraid of because she's already seen the third base going down, so early aggression is pretty unlikely. She has at least 2 minutes now before something really threatening comes her way, or could come her way. And that would be just Ling, Baning, push, and I don't really know if it would be that threatening at all. So, first tech choice for Koshkii this time around is the robotics facility, so not the Twilight Council as an... Oh, it is the Twilight Council, okay, never mind. It's actually the same build as before. We have the Twilight Council incoming, we have 1 adept already out, so it's probably going to be, again, the Resonating Glaives upgrade, together with a few Immortals, and then just pushing across the map, which is actually not that long of a distance, if you take a look from 1/3 to the other third. I mean, it's not short as well, but it's not the longest rush distance on any map you've seen so far. It's easier to check though, that's something you always have to be aware of. I mean, the path is pretty narrow, so there are not many ways for a ground army to go or to get to the third base of your opponent. So it's pretty easy to check those, and actually most Zerg, for example, put an Overlord here on the high ground and maybe even an Overlord here on the high ground. And if the opponent doesn't have a flying unit with its army, or with their army, then they won't see the Overlord, but the Overlord will see everything that moves down here and gives you a very early idea of what's coming your way. So more gateways, so this is obviously going to be a big gateway push, maybe with some Immortal drops as well. So we've already seen this play by Koshkii a lot, where she just gets out a gateway and some Immortals, flies the gateway over with 2 Immortals in it, and then just does a big warp in. But in this case it's only being gateway pressure, so Overlord sees everything. Nice scouting here by Wryza. Koshkii even fires up one of the photon overcharges because she already has enough energy for a second one. And yeah, there's the warp prism, unfortunately just out of sight of Wryza's Overlord. And there are the first 2 adepts warped in and loaded. So there's, yeah, it's actually the same build as before, so we actually see the same thing as she played on Frost. In the meantime, Wryza just droning like crazy, 5 more incoming, and now the first 6 Zerglings. So they're the first 3 adepts in the meantime. She's going to drop them right now, trying to do some economic damage with them, but the Warp Prism is almost down. Koshkii has to be very careful here. Almost losing them. There are 2 more Queens. The Warp Prism is running right into 2 more Queens, only unloading one of the Adepts, and the other one is down here, but it's already been killed by the Zerglings. So almost actually no damage at all done with that first big investment. Wow, that's a lot of lost resources for our Protoss player here. But in the meantime, she's managed to take her 3rd base at least. But yeah, being in this case, we have a much better game for Wryza to look ahead for. She's already on 46 drones to 39 workers, 14 now, but she's almost already fully saturated at her bases, at least as she wants to, as saturated as she wants to be. Now just producing Lings only and a Baneling nest, so she's probably going to move in with Lings and Banelings, trying to tear down everything that's here. And if she manages to hit the timing window where she can do that, this might be a bit problematic for Koshkii to handle. So let's see if Wryza's push will be strong enough, or if Koshkii messes up, or if she just won't be able to do anything against it because it's just too much Zerg heading her way. We'll see what's ever going on. So Forge now incoming for the first upgrades. Maybe some cannon defense. You normally want to have like 1 or 2 cannons here as well, if you fear something is coming your way. But in this case, it seems as if Koshkii is not worried at all, and that might fire back. But in the meantime, okay, Wryza deciding not to attack at all, even after producing that many Lings out of all her hatcheries, instead taking a 4th base, or maybe trying to make something happen with a few Lings, or actually the massive Lings she has right now. So we'll see what she's going to do. So, in the meantime, just morphing some of the Banelings. Okay, and this might actually be pretty problematic to deal with. I mean, it looks as if Koshkii has already had an idea of what's coming away. I think she's just sent Hallucinated Phoenix over there. And oh, I don't know what Wryza is actually doing here. I mean, she could really get this around quite easily, and then even the Immortals wouldn't be worth that much here. Koshkii now relocating her own army, trying to get back more into the safety of the pylon overcharge, and also where the Lings cannot really surround her as well. So Wryza just doing the soft contain here, and maybe she wants to go in again. Has just saved up some more gas for Banelings. Another Hallucinated Phoenix just scouting what's going on down here. In the meantime, Koshkii is frenetically trying to get more gateways down, and the research, of course. So, I don't know, the more time passes by, the more problematic this is going to be for Wryza to make something happen. There are now a few more Zealots inside. Ooh, Koshkii now moving out. I don't know if that really is the best plan. I mean, she knew that the army was down there, and tries to make some of these units explode into the cheaper units. But this is still a lot of Zerg, and if Wryza manages to get a full surround of that army, she will probably kill off everything. And here she goes, having all the... Okay, now Koshkii even recalling her most valuable army assets back to the Nexus, but Lings are still running in, just still killing units left and right, even trying to tear down this 4th Nexus over here. Koshkii does not cancel it yet, doesn't have to, and now Wryza's lost almost all of her army once more. She's finally managed to get up her 4th base, is still producing more and more Lings, sending them across the map. And she might be able to make something happen still. There's only a few units of Koshkii left. There's finally a new Immortal, but Immortal's not that great against that many Lings. So more Banelings morphing in. Wryza still, even gives it away that she's coming across the map once more. Trying to tear down the base, and this time she might be able to get it. Cancel there, so no forward space for Koshkii right now. Retreating a little bit. Oh, moving, nice move here, moving in with the Banelings right into the Zealots, so that they will die down as well. But now the first Archons have finally arrived, and Zealots, Zerglings will now be that much worse, because if you have to fight against the brutal AoE of Archons, the Zerglings just don't cut it. And yeah, Koshkii is held off the push for now, but like I said, Wryza is in the game much better this time than the last game. 77 drones already, 18 Zerglings, 15 Hydras in the making, and she already has her fourth base down, and a fifth already incoming, much earlier than her opponent this time, even a macro hatch going down. So Koshkii now tries to push us back, she knows she has to make something happen, and maybe she sniffs a little opportunity for herself. Nice run by here, I don't know if she really wanted to do that. Okay, just running inside the army, that's of course not the best thing to do. Yeah, these few Banelings will not just cut it, but we have a lot of Hydras in the background, so let's see if she gets a good angle here. Okay, moving in with most of the Banelings, just getting a lot of the shields from the Archons down, and now it's only one little Archon that's almost down here, and Koshkii recalls as soon as possible. Again, wisely saving her army here, but still, a good hold by Wryza. And yeah, she's taken no economic damage at all throughout the whole game. 2 upgrades now finally coming in. This upgrade almost done, so it should go back to here. Koshkii just trying to invest into more tech, getting Blink done, getting the second attack upgrade done. And we have Wryza once more trying to see what's happening at the front with some of the cheap Zerglings. No more Archons. I don't really know if I like that decision, but I think Koshkii wants to invest more and more heavily into the Immortals and the Stalkers and a lot of Zealots because she's afraid of Lurkers, which are actually not coming, which is quite interesting here. Ultralisk then already done. We also have Spire incoming, so Wryza just prepares for heavy tech switches, it feels. I think she doesn't really want to attack straight up anymore until she will be able to whittle down the army to a smaller bit and then just building the counter units for Koshkii's army with all her tech advantage and her economic advantage. We'll see if this is really going to work out, but it seems as if this is the plan for now. So, Wryza's economy rising pretty well. She's still on Ling, Bane, and only Hydras. I really don't know what's coming next, but there's a 6 Ultras. Okay, I was wondering, what's the Ultralisk of the Ultralisk Cavern doing here with the chitinous plating incoming if there are no Ultralisks, but they just take some time to build. I don't know if Ultralisks are the best choice. We have a lot of Immortals, but of course if you get a good surround with the Lings and Banelings and the Hydras flying as well, it might be difficult to focus down the Ultralisks, but yeah, we'll see to that. Okay, the Banelings just tear down everything that was the meat buffer, so all of the Zealots die almost instantaneously, and now it's only a few Immortals and versus these Hydras and the Queens. So the Immortals decide to back off, and the Warp Prism as well. Did the Mothership Core die? Is there still? Yeah, it died. So there's no more Mothership Core for now, so no easy relocation for Koshkii. And yeah, since only one Ultralisk died, we have the other 5 still on the field. And the blades are actually looking pretty cool. Like poisonous blades, if you have a look at them. It's actually quite nice. So what's she trying to do? Does she really... is this a misclick, or did she really want to send them down here? Just in order to see if there's a hidden base down here or something? I don't really know. I think it was just a misclick. I think she wanted to go somewhere else. And it might happen to be just the best decision she's ever made in this whole game, because now she comes from a totally unexpected angle. But like I said, it's Immortals against the Ultralisks only, but yeah, not only. There's the rest of the army coming right from the back, killing off everything that Koshkii has, and actually this should be game, I think, because now we have an almost 200 supply army by Wryza, and in the meantime we only have 128 supply for Koshkii. If we just have a look at all the units, it's 4 Immortals, 6 Zealots, and 2 High Templar. Do they even have Storm? No, they don't. And they don't actually need it. It would be quite nice against these Hydras. And now Wryza just seems to walk over. I mean, she should reproduce more units at the moment, and she doesn't, which is quite odd. Maybe she doesn't have the lava to do it. Losing a lot of army against these Immortals once more. Because, like I said, if you don't have a good buffer in front of them, the Immortals just shoot them down so quickly. But there's still a lot of Hydras. Wryza has to be careful not to overextend here. She might feel that she can win right now and tries to end it right here, and maybe bringing Koshkii back into the game, because as you can see right now, it's 140 to 160 again. So now finally manages to reproduce a lot of her army, 4 Ultralisks on the way, and a lot of Zerglings and Hydras once more. So maybe the second push is going to kill Koshkii, but Wryza has to be careful. Upgrades say 3-0 for Koshkii's army. We have 3-1 for Wryza. So Wryza really on top of her game here. Yeah, that's of course the good thing. If you play against an opponent that's supposed to be better than you by the numbers, and in this case it is, Koshkii is a Masters player after all, and Wryza has been Diamond before, but yeah, there's still normally a skill gap to speak about. So yeah, if you play against a so-called better player, oftentimes your concentration just goes up like crazy. But as you can see, Immortal's just dealing out so much damage against all of these Ultras, so the Ultra's almost worthless, but of course, after everything else has died, the Immortals just have to back off. And I don't really know if I would have liked it better if Wryza just tried to get them, but I think the Immortals are just as fast as the Hydra's off creep, so she didn't really want to do it. So in the meantime, she has already taken her 6th base, while Koshkii has finally managed to get up a 5th. And this is again where it becomes problematic. The more bases Protoss takes and the higher in tech the race gets, the more difficult it gets to beat. There's the Dark Shrine also incoming, and this might cause a lot of problem once Koshkii uses her Warp Prism in order to warp in several DTs at several locations. So Wryza, I think, has to do something before that's going to happen, and before the Protoss army just becomes so much superior in tech that she won't be able to keep up. But there's the Great Aspire incoming, so probably trying to go for Broodlords in the long run, but this is still going to take a lot of time. First the Great Aspire has to be finished, then we have to morph some Corruptors, then we have to remorph these Corruptors into Broodlords, and this is actually a big timing window in which a lot of your army is just worthless against the ground army that Koshkii has, so a lot of time to kill the opponent while he's trying to morph the ultimate Broodlord army. So Koshkii just walking across the map, it's only 152 to 166, so again, Wryza has wasted a lot of units just trying to crush the army of Koshkii's with only Lings and Banelings and some Hydras. No Ultralisks this time. Yeah, and there it comes. It's pretty scary looking. There are the Banelings just moving in once more, almost killing all of the Zealots once again. There's one Dark Templar in here, but it gets spotted almost immediately. Zerglings running around trying to tear down these Immortals, but again not getting them, just barely. And then the next Warp-In just might have sealed the deal here. Koshkii, now going inside the base. And we have 36 more Zerglings coming in. They are still trying to whittle down these Immortal count, and maybe this time they'll be able to get it too. Immortals will of course be safe, but the others all have to die. Now Koshkii finally tries to warp in more units, unloading the rest of the units, trying to kill as much as she can. And but there's the 4th base going down as well. In the meantime, we have the Broodlords, the first Morphin Broodlords that are just attacking the main base of Koshkii from the back side. So this is maybe turning into a base race of some weird kind here, because actually right now Wryza just has to clean up the rest of these Zealots and then she's done with it, and the only attacking fort back here is Wryza's. So this is really a strange turn of the situation right here. Yeah, I think the Zealots, Koshkii's still able to warp things in, but of course her mineral income isn't that great as well. And finally, Wryza has managed to get down all of the units of Koshkii's in her own base. And like I said, now it's only Wryza's units that are attacking. Koshkii trying to warp something in. Yeah, she had some units ready to cross the map, trying to make something happen. With these units morphing in one more over here, having the Immortal saved by the Warp Prism, and another Stalker is going to fall. So I think Koshkii really has to retreat here, but of course she also knows that she doesn't have anything against those Broodlords, so she has to make something happen on the opposite side of the map, but I think she really can't. Wryza just chasing down that Warp Prism, now everything has already died. Yeah, and it seems as if Wryza is taking this game off of our Master Protoss player. Yeah, these Stalkers try to get in range of the Broodlords, just getting off one little shot before dying. Brave is their sacrifice, but futile. It just won't work, and there's the next Brood Lord incoming from the left-hand side. So it's going to whittle down these... it's going to siege down, actually, you can say, these structures as well. Well, and I don't know what Koshkii can do. Then just say GG and type out of it. I mean, there's nothing in her base saying that she tries to make something happen against it. She's now trying to build a Phoenix out of that one Stargate, but the one Phoenix just will take forever to shoot down the Brood Lords. In the meantime, we also have some more Lings walking in, tearing down the rest of the economy. This mineral line is already empty, this mineral line as well. Here's the mineral line, dead, and everything else. GG, well played. And Wryza ties it up 1-1. We're on Frozen Temple this time, and spawning to the bottom right position. It's the purple Protoss Koshkii. And to the bottom left, in green, it's the Zerg player Wryza. So Koshkii already preparing to wall off at the bottom of the ramp in order to get an early expand that's already protected with buildings from early Ling rushes. Can be problematic sometimes if your opponent goes for an early pool, but it doesn't look like Wryza's doing it. So I'm a bit worried that Koshkii is actually not going for an early scout. She really raids for the gateway scout, which can be problematic. Of course, this is Frozen Temple, and you have the shortest rush distance of all maps if you just walk across the map. So she might be aware that it's just enough for her if she'd scouted an early pool right now. And in this case, Wryza already also knows the map as well. She knows of the short rush distances. I'm sorry for that. And so she goes for a spawning pool this time instead of a hedge first, which is, I think, a good decision, especially since she's seen Koshkii play against Mizukotze, where she used a proxy 4-gate at this location, actually at this location, because Mizukotze was spawning over here. And yeah, Koshkii actually likes her close proxy gateway style on this map, so I think that's actually what made Wryza decide to go for an early pool instead of an early hatch this time around. But then again, if you really suspect something like that to happen, I think you should really send the first overload over here and then over here in order to get the scout, because you really want to know if a proxy gate is coming your way. And if you're really afraid of it anyways and you build a safety pool, I think it would also make sense to send the overload over here. So, but in this case, this time, Koshkii not using the same strategy as always. She doesn't want to be that predictable. So it's the early Nexus. And afterwards going into tech. So maybe Koshkii just going for the same build once more. We'll have to look into that once the Cybernetics core is finished and Koshkii decides for a first tech building, which is going to be a Robo this time around. Where is it? Oh, it's down here. There's the Robo, so no Twilight Council first this time. Okay, Koshkii in the meantime still trying to block the third base over here for just a little bit in order to get it delayed a little more. Seems again as if Wryza doesn't really want to push it down, or she was not paying attention, because she could have now planted it down if she wanted to. So Baneling Nest incoming again, so Wryza really likes to go for his Speedling Baneling build. It obviously seems to win her a lot of games on ladder, otherwise I think she won't do it. She wouldn't be doing it. So, and there we have the first few Lings just walking across the map. They won't be able to do much. This is a full wall off right now, and there will be an Adept available in just a second, but there's also the Mothership Core over here, which can now shoot, and if necessary even throw down a Photon Overcharge, but it really doesn't need to. I mean, there's only 6 Zerglings, but in order to get down that pylon, there's only 2 Zerglings that can attack the pylon at once. So, yeah, not much she can do right now. Maybe with Banelings, if there are enough Banelings, she might be able to break through. But then the question will be, does she have enough Lings to follow up this in order to really make some damage happen here? Because if most of the Lings just die as Zerglings inside that wall, and then she won't be able to break through and do a lot of damage, she's just made such a big sacrifice economic-wise, because in the meantime, she, or as we can see right now, she's just morphing every lava into Lings, and she only has around 18 workers right now. So this is actually a full all-in at that time. I mean, if Koshkii holds that, she's ahead by 17 workers. So on 2 base with tech going on, and she doesn't even get the. Oh, this is pretty poor now. She doesn't even get the pylon down. has sacrificed so much. So yeah, I'm sad to say it, but that's game. It's really sad. It's really sad to say it. So Koshkii just walls off some more. So even if some more banelings get in and get this pylon down, she has more buildings beyond it. So or behind it in this case. The first immortal is almost coming. We have zealot speed on the way, and yeah, Wryza just won't be able to make much happen with this push. I feel so. She might be able to morph some more banelings. Oh, no! Oh, again, what did I do? Just pressing the wrong buttons here. So, oh yeah, just moved it back. That was the 10-second backwards part. Sorry for that. So yeah, what do we have here? She doesn't see it right now. Wryza's overlord is moving over here. Oh, she tries to. Is that a transport overlord? No, it's not yet. Does she really want? I mean that's really obvious, right? Okay, so we have two immortals now in the warp prism. Warp prism now flying across the links. They will see everything. The question is, will Koshkii decide to move it back, or is she certain that she'll be able to hold this without the help of the immortals and doing some pressure of her own at Wryza's base? So Wryza in the meantime has tried to get the drone count up as well while soft containing her opponent. So she didn't really try to punish her opponent with the links or trying to do much more damage, because it would have been just suicide. She just actually tried to do the best thing she could and trying to get back into the game with more drones. But the problem is that now she doesn't have any units at home to defend this, and there's a warp prism. She will be able to do the next warp in round in just a few seconds. There's the first few units, and there are more incoming in just a few seconds. There's even speed lots, so they really shred Zerglings unless they are in an overwhelming number. And yeah, the third base already down. Now they are both on equal bases, which is never good for Zerg that early in the game. 5 drones have already died, and she doesn't really have enough to fend this off. No, this game is over, as I said before. So even the banelings don't get the hits they want to. They're finally killing down 2 more zealots, but 5 more zealots already incoming, 2 more zealots being walked in, and even immortals don't die that quickly once more. She might have been even able to put it into the warp prism once more because of the warp prism loading range. So yeah, Wryza just retreats everything, tries to get another army together, but it doesn't even matter if she loses this natural base. Sure, there's another base on the way at this location, but yeah, losing the natural is just such a hard slap in the face. It just won't work out. And now finally even the T's are walking in. So yeah, there's not even protection. GG, and Koshkii takes the next game 2-1. So it's the 4th game of this series, spawning to the bottom left of the map. It's the purple Protoss Koshkii. And to the top left, I'm sorry for that, it's the green Zerg, Wryza. She's behind 1-2, so she has to make something happen. Losing one more game would mean losing the series. And she's fought well so far. Let's see if she has another trick up her sleeves. Or just another standard game, because actually Wryza has not really... Well, she tried to cheese her opponent during the last game. It didn't quite work out, but I think it was also not that well executed, as it could have been. So there were just too few banelings to go through that pylon, and thus, yeah, she didn't really have the chance to get inside Koshkii's base, trying to do more damage with the links. If it had happened, it might have worked out for her quite well, but I'm not that certain. And after the failed cheese, Wryza just tried to get back into the game by droning hard, but by doing this, she gave her opponent the possibility to tech up, to build more units, and then just walk across the map and kill her, because she didn't have that many units to defend herself. So, spawning pool coming after the hatch first this time, so Wryza trying to do another standard game probably. So Wryza should now know where her opponent is, because the probe arrived so early at her base. So there's actually only one position where Koshkii really can be, because it takes longer for a probe to get from this position all the way over here, and down here, and down here, and over to here, and even longer, making you dizzy right now, up to your natural base. So this way is much shorter. So in this case, if Wryza just knows her maps and knows her numbers, she should be aware where her opponent is, even without having her scouted yet. So it's again links. I think we're going to see the speed in just a few seconds, and then probably again going into Ling Banelings. So like I said, this seems to be the preferred style of Wryza. And we have the probe still live for Koshkii, so she still has the possibility to scout the third base, which she will do now. Right on. Yeah, she was just checking all the possible normal third base locations with her probe. And now she's even able to like spawn a proxy pylon, maybe a proxy building over here. But as we've seen so far, Koshkii doesn't really like proxy buildings. We're not doing a full-out cheese. So she's not one of these Protoss players who tries to sneak a pylon and a gateway somewhere on the map in order to do warp-ins right at that position. She normally uses her warp prism for that. So let's see if she's going to do that again. It's again the warp prism first, and then probably into some immortals and some gateway pressure with most certainly zealots. So yeah, this is probably going to be for the zealot speed. Normally, if she wants to play the other way around with the attack speed of the adept, she usually builds the Twilight Council first. So this seems to be the same push as before, speedlots and immortals. Yeah, why change a winning tactic? It's actually a good motto to live after. So, Wryza in the meantime trying to get her economy up. There's 10, 12 links, so maybe she tries to walk inside the main base once more, or maybe she just tries to crush through this. This is a quite big gap to close with buildings, so maybe Wryza just wants to play this tactic specifically on this map because she knows that this is such a wide open natural, and normally she will be able to make something happen with Lings and Banelings. Even just getting a few Banelings in here before Koshkii reacts and detonating them within the workers would do terrible damage. And of course it's quite easy to get near or at least close the main base, and if Koshkii hasn't walled off with one unit, she might be able to get through as well. But this is now I think the biggest problem. Does she already know where the heck are they going? Wryza already knows where her opponent is. What is she doing? I don't really get it. Oh, she's looking for proxies. Okay, never mind. It's a bit odd to use all your links for proxies, but of course she just wants to find them and tear them down immediately. But this is actually a bit odd. Never seen that, moving that many links around when you actually know where your opponent is, just scouting for proxies. Is this a proxy scout? She's even rallying the units down here. Does she want to surprise her opponent? Like maybe seeing when her opponent is coming away. Oh, she just barely missed. Oh, there it was just for one little second. So if Wryza was paying attention, she might now know it. I don't think this is a run by. This is strangely odd for a run by. I mean, for a run by you would normally park them down here. I actually don't know what Wryza is doing with her links over here, but she's going to need them in just a few seconds, and they might be too far away to defend this little push by Koshkii. And here it is, the speedlots into not the speedlots into, it's the speedlots and the immortals, and the dark shrine behind it, just like last game. So yeah, there's nothing to defend here, so she will probably be able to tear down that base. Okay, some Zerglings coming from the left, some Zerglings coming from the right, and now coming from behind, but there's the next warping round of zealots, and this is probably going to be the most critical part. The queen's not even really. Oh, there they are focus firing. Yeah, of course, this is also a big problem of this replay mode right now, that I would have to change it back to damaged, because this is normally what I have on. So maybe next replay I will be able to do that. Okay, another warping coming in. She's fought off that push at least, but she's lost her base in the process. So she's, well, I wouldn't say that far behind, but these supply counts are a bit misleading, because the most important part for a Zerg player to know if a Zerg player is behind or okay in the game, you normally also only have to have a good look at the drone count, and of course if there are enough bases to use all the drones. But yeah, this is now the biggest problem. Just Koshkii, gets forced to warp in the DTs back at home so she can defend against all of these links, but that was fairly easily done. Maybe even doing some more damage here. Oh, even killing a lot of Koshkii's probes back here. What's going on here? Koshkii is just not really defending this as well as she should have. Wow, going down to 19 probes. So actually, if Wryza manages to hold this next push, which will be a big task to do, she might again be able to take a game off Koshkii here. So this is actually pretty close now, but the DT's walking in. Do we have any detection at all? I think we don't. Do we even have a lair? We have a lair, but there's no detection in. Is there detection incoming? Is there any detection? No! Yes, there is. Okay, never mind. There are two overseers, but they are somewhere. Not where they should be. Okay, hopefully Wryza thinks of them. She's already morphed them in advance, but oh, there are DTs incoming and she doesn't have detection over here. But maybe some Banelings will just kill the Dark Templars anyway? No, they don't. Okay, now it's only Queens and a Spine Crawler. Entities and no detection, although there is detection. There it comes. Okay, finally detection comes over here, but in the meantime a lot of units are already dying. Koshkii might be able to warp in some more units, but she doesn't have that much money left. If Wryza manages to keep this little force alive and just get rid of that push, she might be able to take the game, but it seems as if it's just barely not enough. More links streaming in, but of course a few links at a time won't really do the trick. And now finally Wryza is going to lose her second base as well, and in the meantime Koshkii has already managed to take the lead in workers once more. No, this game seems to be over now. I'm trying to get in once more, but being a bit undecisive of where to move the zealots. A lot of the links get killed by the Archon. I'm sorry for that. A lot of links get killed by the Archon. I thought I pushed that away. A lot of the links get killed by the Archon even before being able to fire. Was so close. GG, and that's it for the game. Koshkii takes it 3-1.